Oh, what's up, everybody? My name is OMG WTF LOLFTW BRB. Welcome back to more WWE vs. TEW, the weekly series where we take the events and shows that the WWE books, run them in the game to see just how well the WWE does, or if TEW will be the company that brings the WWE down to its knees. Today, we're bringing you your favorite program, everyone's favorite program. I get constant messages, constant emails, comments, begging me, where's 205 Live? We love 205 Live. It is the hottest hour on television, despite not even being on television. How do they do that? It's how good it is. So I know it's been a little while here. Made you guys wait, as I normally do. We're still a week behind, unfortunately, but funny story about this 205 Live. Before we jump in, I want to say that this will be take 2, because when I originally went to record this, it was maybe about halfway through and I got interrupted by a bunch of animals that just bum rushed into my room. That's not really what got me, though. It's I knew afterwards, after I kicked all the animals out, I could deal with that, but then there's a lot of noise. My little brother started talking. Just a lot of background noise. Wasn't down for it. I figured since 205 Live is everybody's favorite show, I've got to make it perfect. So I figured we just would scrap it, restart it, and let us jump right in, shall we? So the cold open for 205 Live gets a magnificent 34 E+ rating. That stands for exceptionary, by the way. The E, just saying. Just the cold open for 205 Live, hyping up last week's number one contendership fatal 4-way match between Mustafa Ali, Hideo Itami, Drew Gulak, and TJP. And the winner, of course, ended up being Drew Gulak, who will face Cedric Alexander for the championship. And then a 36 D- rating here as we go ahead and hype/announce that at SummerSlam, the biggest party of the summer, Cedric Alexander will defend his Cruiserweight Championship against Drew Gulak on the biggest not biggest platform, but the biggest party of the summer. Good stuff. 36 D- though. That's actually not too bad for two guys that really don't have as much popularity, but 34 E+ rating here as we hype up tonight's main event, which will see the Cruiserweight Champion Cedric Alexander battle the Brian Kendrick. Drew Gulak not rated, he was just featured, so if you're wondering why he was there, that's why. 37 D-. This is one of those angles that is taking place while the match is going down. Our opening match of the night is Tony Nese versus Kalisto, a match that we should have got last week, but due to complications, we weren't able to have it. I think it was something to do with Tony Nese, but I'm not quite sure. Don't quote me. Nonetheless, though, Buddy Murphy's watching the match because what Nese agreed upon with Kalisto was that they take each other on one-on-one, no Lucha House Party out ringside, which Grand Metalik is still working for, in Mexico for his visa right now, so he's not even here. No Buddy Murphy, just a straight-up one-on-one match between the two, so no Buddy Murphy down there, and that's why he's back here watching the match. Match itself, opening match of the night, gets a 45 solid D rating. That's good. 45 solid D in a poor matchup. Kalisto goes over Tony Nese in 8 minutes, 8 seconds with the Salida del Sol. Kind of doing a Randy Orton kind of gimmick here. Not really gimmick, that's probably the wrong word. More like, I guess, bit would be more like it, like a Randy Orton bit, where Randy Orton always hits the RKO out of nowhere. That's where Kalisto kind of did with the Salida del Sol, because Tony Nese was really kind of the dominating factor in this match. Kalisto getting really not a whole lot of offense in, where Nese was more of the controlling factor in this matchup here, dominating most of the action, with Kalisto getting little spurts in here and there. And then he caught Tony Nese off guard when Nese went to pick him up and hit him with the Salida del Sol. So I was kind of tempted to make it a flash pinfall, but it's not really a flash pinfall. Flash pinfall to me is when, you roll them up while they're distracted or grab them by the tights, and it's 1-2, that's like a flash pinfall when it's not expected. This is just he hit his move out of nowhere, and that's it, We don't call the RKO out of nowhere a flash pinfall, so that's kind of my thought process on there. Nese really off his game tonight, which that's unfortunate, but he is getting better at his gimmick. Vic Joseph and Watson with their good chemistry we knew about already. Kalisto with an in-ring performance of a 46, 10 points better than Tony Nese with a 36. Mind you, Nese was off his game, so really off his game, I may add. So he's probably really better than this. I did gain some heat for the Lucha House Party Buddy Murphy and Nice feud here. After the match is over, we jump into a 46 solid D rating here. As after the match, Buddy Murphy comes down to the ring. Match is over. I guess the rules are out. He confronts Kalisto. Kalisto tries to get by him, but Murphy catches him, overpowers him, and just kind of tosses him back. And eventually, at one point, I think he had Kalisto up on his shoulders and was he was looking to do something to him. Don't remember what it was. I don't think he had a powerbomb. It was more like the electric chair, but I doubt that's what he was going for. Nonetheless, though, he can't do anything because Lince Dorado makes the save, rushes down to the aid for his buddy Kalisto, and kicks Buddy Murphy in the back of the leg. Murphy puts Kalisto down, and Kalisto and Dorado hit a double super kick onto Buddy Murphy, taking him down, and then leaving Tony Nese to check up on him as the Lucha House Party retreat. Alright, up next we got a 49D+. We go backstage to our Cruiserweight contract signing. I guess that took place a little earlier in the night. GM Drake Maverick there presents the contract. Let's just get right to it. Since Drew Gulak won the #1 contendership, he gets the opportunity to sign first. Drew begins to sign, but before he goes to sign, he has something he wants to say. Alexander's not having any of it. He's like, you know what, no, man. And he goes ahead and he signs the contract, and he says, it's that simple, dude. You don't have to talk. Gulak then goes on to talk anyway. He has something to say. He's going to say it. He congratulates Cedric on his championship reign and being undefeated in the year 2018. But he also says, you know, there is an asterisk next to that. And he goes on to explain that, you know, Cedric hasn't been here on 205 Live. And this is honestly a fact. I decided to go back and check Cedric's matches, and granted, we started this after Mania, but even since after Mania, we haven't seen much of Cedric on 205 Live at all. He hasn't wrestled all that much. He hasn't even completed the 10-match requirement, and that's weird for a champion, you know? So Gulak making his point that Alexander, he's not on 205 Live. He sits in the back and lets his competition wear each other out week after week while he just plays video games, and then when it comes to defend his championship, he's 100% while his competition's, you know, more like 80% or something like that. So he's making his excuse. Alexander takes exception to that, and he pretty much just tells Gulak, all you did tonight was fire me up, and I'm just going to take it all out on your buddy Brian Kendrick later. So there you have that. Both men signed the contracts. Drew Gulak getting better at his gimmick, and it's taking place. SummerSlam. Big play field for them. Come on, you know I pressed the button. There we go. 36D- as once again we hype up the main event of the night. Cedric Alexander taking on the Brian Kendrick. Guess I forgot to make this a minor rated segment because it lost heat for the storyline. My bad. 100A star as John Cena decided to go solo and ditch Jericho and ditch Rey Mysterio because they're holding his back. 100's A star for Big Break John, and I believe his 7 minutes. 33 E+ rating as Lio Rush, the 23? I think it's the 23-year-old piece of gold or something like that. Nonetheless, Lio Rush makes his way down to the ring, but he takes the mic as he is making his way down to the ring to kind of talk a little bit about Tozawa. He says he's getting a lot of slack because he didn't give Tozawa his rematch, but he doesn't feel like Tozawa deserves a rematch. And then he says, look at my opponent tonight, Ricky Martinez, you know, that being the young man in the ring here that I didn't get the name of off the top of my head, so I don't know who he is. I forgot to write it down despite this being my second recording. Should have remembered that. Also had to make it 2 Z's because someone already had the name Ricky Martinez. Isn't that lovely? He pretty much just plays up Ricky Martinez while talking down Akira Tozawa, and they get ready for their matchup here. Match itself gets a 28 solid E rating here, and a terrible matchup. Lio Rush goes over Ricky Martinez in 1:54 with the Rush Hour. Lio Rush, off his game. Come on, Rush. Pick it up. Interesting enough here, though, Lio Rush and Ricky Martinez have great chemistry, and it showed in their performance, so whoever this guy is, good job. Did cool the crowd, though. Lio Rush with an in-ring performance of a 34, so that could have been better. He was off his game, remember. And Ricky Martinez with a 25. So I'd say probably around a 35, 36 for Lio Rush, most likely. 28 solid E rating as afterwards Akira Tozawa comes down to the ring, and he just pretty much makes a beeline right towards the ring, rushes straight towards Lio Rush, kind of confronts him, but Rush backs down. He ain't having any of it. He gets out of there, and gets a little bit of heated for a second, but nothing special going on here. Tozawa is getting better at his gimmick, though, so there is that, but it did lose heat for the feud between the two. 37 D- rating. This is a kind of combined together segment because it made up a minute. The Brian Kendrick is just sitting there backstage while Drew Gulak starts kind of, psyching him up, giving him some advice, I would assume. We can't really hear what Gulak is saying. I apologize if you guys hear the rain in the background. Apparently I left one of my windows open, so if you hear any rain, that's my bad, but we're already almost done with this. Rain's kind of relaxing anyway. Hope it doesn't annoy you guys. Nonetheless, Gulak, like I said, hyping up Brian Kendrick, and then Cedric Alexander getting ready for the match in his own way. The Brian Kendrick getting better at his gimmick. Good stuff. Is it main event time? Not quite yet. 33 E+ rating as once again Drew Gulak versus Cedric Alexander is hyped for SummerSlam. Of course, for the Cruiserweight Championship. Come on. I know this button thing really makes me mad. 41 solid D as it is main event time. In a poor matchup, Cedric Alexander, the Cruiserweight Champion, goes over the Brian Kendrick in 12 minutes, 55 seconds with the overtime. I'm pretty sure he just hit the, what do they call that, actually? The lumbar check. I'm pretty sure he just hit the lumbar check. Gulak was on commentary for this matchup. He also provided some distraction is what I'm trying to go on. He distracted Cedric Alexander. The rain's kind of throwing me off, I guess. Nonetheless, the Brian Kendrick with an in-ring performance of a 36. Cedric Alexander with an in-ring performance of a 40. Advance the Gulak-Alexander storyline here. And we move on to our closing segment of the night, which gets a 41 solid D rating here. Drew Gulak gets in the ring and he slightly distracts Cedric Alexander for the time being as Jack Gallagher sneaks his way into the ring, turns Cedric Alexander around, hits a stiff headbutt on him, and takes down the Cruiserweight Champion. Gulak and Gallagher start kind of circling around Cedric Alexander like they're gonna, they're wolves on their prey and they're gonna strike pretty much. But GM alongside a bunch of referees rush down to the ring to pretty much prevent it from happening. Maverick tells Gulak if you lay a hand on him, you're gonna lose your championship match. Gulak, this intelligent man he is, doesn't lay a hand on him, but definitely sends a message in his own way. So we end off the show and we get ourselves a 61 solid C. Not quite sure how. I blame Cena because I'm really starting to think Cena's starting to have an effect on this stuff. But there you have it, 61 solid C. All in all, good 205 Live. Good stuff. One thing I did notice, though, when I was kind of looking at the popularity of some of the 205 Live guys, Brian Kendrick's pretty low. Like, I feel like Brian Kendrick should be a little higher rated than some of these 205 Live guys. Like, I think he's around the 30 popularity mark, and I mean, maybe that would ring true. I'd say he probably is more of a 35, maybe a 40, though. I mean, Brian Kendrick was never the most popular guy in the world, but I feel like he shouldn't be the same popularity as a guy like Mustafa Ali. And I know Ali's making a name for himself, but we know who Kendrick is. I mean, I guess that's just my philosophy. I don't know. I know The Who gets a lot of slack, though, for a lot of his choices in his mod making, whether it be the ratings on certain superstars or popularity or stuff like that. And I know I've said in the past that, I actually like The Who's mods, and I feel like his are the most realistic, and I still believe that. Like, I feel like a lot of the other mods really give people a little bit more stats than they do. I'll admit maybe The Who underrates people, but I feel like it's also easier to go back in and edit someone who's been underrated rather than it's overrated. Because overrated, you're just kind of going to be like, well, I don't want to change it. It's going to give me good ratings either way. But underrated, you feel like you kind of need to, but you don't want to overrate them as well because you want to be fair to yourself. At least that's how I am. But I still enjoy The Who's mods. I feel he's the most realistic of all the WWE mods out there. I know a lot of people prefer Flesh or Fesh or whatever it is. But I defend my man The Who. I think his ratings are pretty accurate. Accurate enough for me to, if something doesn't seem right, I can go change it, and I'm not changing a whole bunch to where I feel like I'm just changing the entire mod. I'm just upping them up a little bit. Ooh, USA Network are unhappy with the quality of last night's SmackDown. Neither was Sky Sports or Sportsnet. Ooh. I mean, that's because they had more matches than anything, but whatever. D. Malenko says Kalisto just doesn't get it. The kid can probably be cut loose. Huh, that's interesting. Interesting. Either way, though, that is going to be the end of this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, do me a favor. Leave me a comment, like, subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, my name has been OMGWTF, LOLTWBRB. Don't forget to share this video with your friends, Facebooks, Twitters, Instagrams. I don't give a damn. Anybody you feel would enjoy my content, make sure to give them a share. Help the channel grow. Help your boy get some new subscribers up in this bitch. And as always, I've got a couple friends for you to check out. Check out my buddy down below, Raging Yoshi, here on YouTube. In the Let's Play game, give him a check out. And then my buddy ZachManziNVO over on Twitch. Very active, does a lot of wrestling related stuff. Overwatch, Smite, give him a check out. But that's going to be the end of the video. I will see you guys for Monday Night Raw. I'll try to get that up as soon as I can. That way we can hopefully catch up. Because although I might like being a little behind with this whole week thing, that way it gives me more of a time to catch what WWE's doing. That way I can maybe hire a superstar that isn't, I'm not going to have enough time to hire if I wasn't a week behind, but I feel like being, keeping up with the WWE is kind of the challenge here as well. So nonetheless, though, I will see you guys later. Have a good one.